And welcome back to the Power Accountability League. I'm your pal, Dan L. This is my channel. And there's an army of theologians trying to figure out if I am related to Cal L. Today's video is entitled All Things in Moderation. Now, it's been attributed to the Christian Bible and other religious texts. It's been attributed to Socrates. I think it originated with a Greek poet, though, who knows? Before the Greek poet, I'm sure somebody said, yeah, all things in moderation makes sense. It doesn't matter who said it. Doesn't matter who we give the credit to. It's a great phrase. All things in moderation. Humanity needs that phrase. We need to adopt it. We need to embrace it. We need to make it part of our personality because we are an extremist species. Homo sapiens are all about extremism. And within the race called humanity, there's a subsection called the left, and they are hyper extreme. And all their extremism is in defense of tyranny and nightmarish future, dystopia. So, yeah, we do have a problem with extremism. Human beings tend to be extreme, and it's a problem. Moderation is a good thing. Like once in a while, let me put it this way: the center and the right are 99% are moderate 99% of the time. 1% of the time they're extreme, or at least if you want to break it down to individuals, 99% of the people who are in the or centrists or on the right, they tend to be moderates. 1% of them are extremists. On the left, 99% of them are extremists, 1% of them are moderates. And this is the problem we deal with every day of human existence. That the people in the center and the right, they are tasked with getting the left to convert to moderation. And the left has made it clear they are never going to do that. People on the left will never embrace moderation. And I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to make it crystal clear to you in this video why that's true and how that statement is an accurate statement. Barry Goldwater said extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice. So, of course, immediately he's the devil. Think about that: extremism in the defense of liberty, and the idiots on the right, the Republicans, all they do is destroy their friends. Whether it is the Trump voters, the Trump movement, or the John Birch Society, it doesn't matter. Every group that's anti-communism, pro-constitutional government, pro-liberty, they're against big government. They believe in limited government. They believe in the individual. They believe in the rule of law versus the rule of the jungle. The people who have those thoughts, they're always being martyred by the right. They're being ostracized by the right and the center. I'm like, these are your friends. These are the people you agree with. And the Republicans and the conservatives and the centrists, all they try and do is destroy those who they agree with. You never see them going after the left. At least not that's and the reason. And by the way, the reason Trump bothers him so much was because left, who was not an extremist, he was a moderate. If you take a look at the life of Trump, his beliefs, his policies, his behaviors, yes, some of his behaviors were a little bit extreme, but not in some sort of tyrannical way, not in some sort of Hitlerian way. Nazi would know. His extremism was he was probably a hedonist, but at the same time he wasn't a drinker. So even that's not even a correct characterization. The point is Donald Trump, especially when you compare him to Obama, Biden, Clinton, all the Democrats, he's a moderate. Take a look. He wasn't. He didn't get in. None of the things they accused him of. What was he guilty of? Before he got into office, they said, "Oh, he's Hitler. He's going to round up what? All the Jews, all the gays, everyone who's not a white heterosexual Christian male is going to be trucked off to a concentration camp." No, but now with Joe Biden in office, what are they talking about? Drone strikes against people who voted for Trump. They're talking about deprogramming the right, meaning taking them off to camps, putting people on the right into camps and deprogramming. This is the type they're talking like Hitler did in the 30s about the right. They're demonizing them, and so yeah. So as usual, when the right when the left calls the right a bunch of Nazis, they're really just projecting who they are. They believe in totalitarianism, and like I said, I promised you that I was going to really make this crystal clear to you, and I'll do it right now. The left. Do you ever hear any Democrats say that they regret something? I'm taking this back to the Harry Reid interview. Remember, I mentioned Harry Reid in a different video, and he was asked if he had any regrets about lying in regards to Romney's taxes. He's like, nah, it worked. I got somebody elected. So they never say they have regrets. On the other hand, the people on the political right and the political center, they can't wait. When George Bush president, 8 years, left office. Somebody asked him if he had regrets. He couldn't wait to tell you about his regrets. When people ask Obama, no regrets at all. Clinton, no regret. Democrats don't have regrets. They're incapable of regretting their behavior. The right can't wait to tell you about. There are nothing but regrets on the right, and sometimes in the center, but mainly on the right. What about, I know, the right always wants to tell you about limits. There's a limit to what we're going to do. There's a limit to how we're going to behave. There's a limit to the things we're going to say. You never have the left, the Democrats, put a limit to the amount of hatred and violence that comes out of their mouth, or their policies. Their policies, their actions, their words, their thoughts. There are no limits to their ambitions and what they'll do to accomplish their goals. The right, all they do is tell you, well, we can't do this because we have to be limited and moderate, and that's all they do. They shoot themselves in the foot. They handicap themselves. The left says the left will never tell you there's a limits. There is some sort of limit, predetermined limit on what they're about to do. Another thing, the left never apologizes. You ever heard the left? A sincere apology. Yes, when Bill Clinton apologizes for sleeping with or having twisted, perverted sex with Monica Lewinsky, he doesn't regret the sex. He regrets getting caught. So he doesn't apologize for cheating on his wife. He apologizes that he got caught. Now the right, the people on the right apologize for things they've never done. I've been guilty of that in my own personal life. I've apologized for things I'm not guilty of in the slightest. And this happens all the time on the right, constantly taking the blame for something they haven't done. Calling people extremists, calling people far right, alt right, and then immediately linking the phrase far right to Nazism. So so Ted Cruz, he's far right. So that may, but he's not. He's not far. He's also not a Nazi. Neither is Trump. Neither is none of the Republicans are Nazis. There was some guy named Stephen King, Steve King or whatever, in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, and he was a Nazi because he was willing to defend the USA. He was a patriot. So patriotism is Nazism. Having an allegiance to individualism is Nazism. Wanting the rule of law is Nazism. Believing in a constitutional republic is Nazism. This is the problem we're up against. So to sum up, the left, they never say they regret anything. The right tells they can't wait to tell you all the things they regret. The left, they never tell you that there's a limit to what they're going to do. They never tell you, well, we're going to have a limited. Now, if it's fighting someone who wants to destroy the USA, sure, they're going to put limits on what they're about to do. But if it's internal suicide, there are no limits on internal destruction, internal oppression, internal tyranny, internal authoritarianism. There are no limits on that. But yet the right, the Republicans, the conservatives, that's all they do is tell you about, well, yes, they did spend 6 months burning down multiple cities, but we have to be limited in our response. So when January 6th rolls around, one day of out of control behavior, which we're now finding out, by the way, the super hyper violent behavior on January 6th, guess where it came from? You ever heard the name Sullivan? Yeah, there's I'm not saying it's 100%, but we're starting to learn a little bit more about January 6th, about the nefarious forces and which side of the aisle they were on. Hint, they were on the left. But anyway, the left never tells you there should be such a thing as a limit to their actions. And of course the right, they're like, well, the reason we can't do anything about Lois Lerner, who was a crook heading the IRS, or the reason we can't do anything about, the reason we're not going to do anything about James Comey's criminality or Hillary Clinton, 33,000 emails destroyed and using a hammer to destroy hard drives, is because we're going to have limits. Bill Barr said, well, I don't want to criminalize being a Democrat. You don't have to, Bill. If a Democrat is doing a criminal action like Hillary Clinton, like Comey, and not just him, I'm sure if we take a look into Fast and Furious and Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch, we might find something. But at least we should look. How about Brennan, head of the CIA, spying on Congress? So the point is, when Bill Barr says, well, you know what, I don't want to go down that road and have us all these retributions against our political enemies. I'm sorry, if your political enemies are guilty of crimes, we can't have a two-tiered system, buddy. So people think that the Republicans think a two-tiered justice system is moderation. No, two-tiered justice system is extremism, extreme unfairness, extreme injustice, extreme breakdown of the rule of law. And then the last thing, I know I'm repeating myself here, but there's a reason because I've got to drive the point home. Never apologizes for anything. You won't you won't hear them apologize for anything. I know it factors into the regret, but that's the point. No regrets, no apologies, and no limits. That's the left. The right, nothing but regrets, nothing but apologies, and nothing but artificial limits, which prevents them from actually doing something against evil. So that's today's video. Um, Moderation is fine. I love moderation. But when one subsection of the human race is hyper extreme, you're going to have to fight against it. You're going to have to either, if they've made it clear they're never going to be anything but extremists, then you're going to have to strip them of their ability to be really, really naughty. And that's what the right and the centrists and the people on the right won't do. They won't. It's a 7-year-old child in the middle of Toys R Us, and people think, well, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to let this child throw a tantrum in the middle of a store. No. You know what moderation is? Taking the 7-year-old child out of the toy store, taking them out to the car, and if the child won't stop throwing a tantrum, spanking the child on their bottom. That's called moderation. That's not, but we've relabeled it extremism, and it's not. Punishing an out of control child is not extremism, it is moderation. That's today's video. Thanks for stopping by. You have a good day. Bye bye.